All right, all right, all right. Happy Thursday. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Veganish. I am your host, Dr. Monique. It is my pleasure and privilege to be with you tonight. I'm so excited. I'm Dr. Monique. I'm a board-certified family physician who you know is a physician in the kitchen. I help busy households enjoy healthy eating without impacting their hectic schedules. And this show brings you along on my plant-based journey. So, Mr. Ellis, good evening.
How are you
today?
I'm doing great. I'm rocking my orange green. So because I have a green screen, rocking my family gear since 1887, but the letters are in green. So when you wear something on the green screen, that's why you're seeing some of my background.
Why you were looking kind of transparent. I was confused by that.
I rock this. I got my new shirt, my new sweatshirt fresh here yesterday, so I had to go ahead and rock it today.
You looking so fresh and so clean right now. Well,
you can see the whole outfit. It's completely like got the shoes and everything to go.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! We may have to twist his arm and get him to post a picture on Facebook for us. But we want to welcome you all. 1 week from tonight. I've heard Thanksgiving compared to like the Super Bowl of food holidays, right? So 1 week from tonight, hopefully you will be somewhere with family, with loved ones, family either that you were born into or that you've created. And just, if you celebrate the holiday, hopefully you will be at a table eating some really good food. First, I want to give a shout out. Today is November 17th. I have to wish a happy Founders Day to the men of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. They're enjoying their Founders Day today. And last weekend I saw Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Woo!
I saw your post. And if you haven't seen it, please see it. And they did a wonderful job. And
have your counselor on standby because you go need some counselor after that.
Yeah, but they did a really great job. Really,
Ryan Coogler, he's fantastic. Like he
really did that. And Winston Duke. I know we're here to talk about food, but can we just talk about how Winston Duke is the new bae? I mean, he is the cover of Esquire and all that. But anyway, I digress. So
get your money, Winston.
Oh my God, he's in this like blue coat on the cover of Esquire, I think it is, looking very chocolicious. So, ladies, I'm telling you, if you haven't seen it, and did you know that the first Black Panther was his first? I'm hearing that was his first role, like that was his first movie,
first major one.
First major one. Yeah. Is that crazy? Like, wow.
It is, it isn't. And there's, I know we're digressing, but like I've worked, around film industry for a minute. And a lot of those actors, I mean, they've been putting in work on like television show, like little bit pieces and here and there. So he's honed his craft. Yeah. But somebody gave him a shot, right? And when they give you that shot, you gotta hit it.
There's probably no such thing as a real like an overnight sensation. We think they're overnight sensations, but they've been here for a minute doing the work. So it's good to see him getting
I love it. Get your flowers, get your money,
get your flowers, get your rewards and your labor, all that. So you all know what time it is for this at the show. At the top of the show, we asked you to rep your city. Let us know. Last week, we had somebody watching from Canada. So let us know what city, what zip code, what coast you're on, what continent you're on. We love having you. You all are the lifeblood of this show. We're here for you. We couldn't do it without you. So let us know where you're watching us from. Be sure to tap somebody, say, come on in this house. Fellowship with us, as my grandmother would say, because we got a great show for you tonight. So last week, we talked about, and throughout the show, if I may remember, if I can ask, drop in the chat for us what you're thankful for. Let us know what you're thankful for this season. I'll start. I'm thankful. I'm 52. I'm thankful I still have my parents with me. And, because I still need my parents. 52 years old, and I still need my mommy and daddy. So I am truly grateful for them. Thankful for their health. And I'm just looking forward to getting together. I've already done my greens. The other night, I did a vegan version of my mom's uh dressing, and it came out good, y'all. Like it's delicious. Like,
Wait, but it's next week.
but I already, oh honey, wait till next week to start cooking. That's what freezers are for. So the stuff that you can freeze, like the cornbread or not the cornbread, the dressing, the greens. Oh yeah, you start doing some of that stuff early, because I had other stuff. I got cakes and pies and mac and cheese. Like I have a lot of stuff to make.
Okay.
So I'm not waiting until like Wednesday night and me looking like a crazy person. No. I'm
No. I mean, but yeah, I'm like,
I'm not doing that.
you real early. I'm like, you early. Like you said,
No,
like
no, but
you early.
the dressing does well in the freezer, so you can't make everything in advance. But yeah, the stuff like that, definitely. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm just to the turkey, so I have to.
no, turkey has to be the day of. So last week we talked about some, we've been talking about some healthier options, for classic foods, and just ways to kind of get through this holiday season. Well, tonight, we're going to talk about, y'all, it wouldn't be me if I didn't like a corny pun. So we're talking about the bloat, right? How do you prevent getting bloated during this holiday season? So I'm calling it, we're going to rock the bloat. Get it? I tried. So, but we're going to talk about ways that you can fight bloat this holiday season. Because think about it. We look forward to eating this food, and then afterwards we're like, oh my God, what did I do? Right? As we're sitting there unbuttoning our pants, or maybe we wore pants without buttons, just elastic.
Breathing slow, because your food is done pushed up against your lungs, and so you can't take a deep breath. So,
right, because your stomach's up here. So yes, so we want to try to prevent that, right? This show is about giving you ways when you know better, you do better, right? So we're not telling you not to enjoy the foods and the smells and all that of the season, but maybe just approaching it in a different way. So I've got a bunch of tips for you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. But yes, as you're coming in, please let us know where you're watching us from, and one thing or two or whatever that you are thankful for this holiday season, this Thanksgiving. So we talked about how, a few minutes ago we said that that Thanksgiving is kind of like the Super Bowl. So we're going to talk about the pregame. So let's because if you're really mindful and you're intentional about how you're going to approach Thanksgiving, it starts before you get to the table. So, and by that I mean hydrate, right? Or just get some water. Be drinking water throughout the day, because what does water do? Water helps you feel full, makes you eat less, and it helps to flush the system. So stay hydrated, because as we've talked about before, people think that they're hungry when it's really thirst, but they're reaching for food instead of drinking. So if you drink water, that kind of lets your brain reset and send the signals that you're not hungry. So that's one way. The other thing is eat before you go. Right? If you're going to a big thing, eat a little something. Don't give me the side eye, Ellis. Like a piece of fruit or something. I'm not saying eat a whole meal, but if you think about it, if you go to the house to go to the dinner with eyes like, your eyes are bigger than your stomach because your stomach's empty, that's just a way to take that edge off. Don't go hangry, have a little something so that you have, you'll be less likely to overindulge once you get
that sounds like something my mom used to have us do before we would go over to somebody else's house for dinner. She would make us eat a sandwich or something, but she'd be like, you're not going to have these people act like I don't feed you. Like,
right.
Aren't we going to dinner?
Pre-dinner. But yeah, and the other thing too you could do is eat a little earlier, have dinner earlier. And this is right up my mom's alley. It's like the running joke every year. Like one year is just gonna be Thanksgiving breakfast, because she keeps inching the time up, earlier and earlier. but there is something to that. Not only does it allow you to eat another plate during the third football game, but but it helps with your digestion so that you're not eating and then laying, like going directly to bed. Um, so okay, Regina's watching us from St. Paul. Thank you so much. Minnesota, Twin Cities. So those are just some things. We've also talked about using smaller plates, right?
Yeah.
So typical dinner plate is 9 inches for adults. A child's plate might be 7 inches. So you can start to think about the size of plate that you're going to use. And you don't have to fill it up to like the edge of the plate, right? Leave some of the rim around the plate, right? You don't have to pile it up like, it's your last meal. So these are just some little things. So this is like a buffet of information. You're going to take and choose what you want, what will help you, but we're just giving you some ideas. The other thing is the 3 P's that help preventing bloat. And those 3 things are protein, potassium, and probiotics. So protein, and it works as a natural diuretic. So when you eat protein, foods high in protein, the body has a diuretic. It has a diuretic effect on the body. Diuretic meaning that it pushes fluid, makes you pee. The other thing is potassium acts as a diuretic. And a lot of people do not get enough potassium in their diets. So, this time of year, you definitely want to engage or increase your potassium intake naturally. And that's going to be in foods like sweet potatoes, citrus like lemon, winter squash, bananas, nuts have it, and also avocado. So those are all great ways to naturally flush salt and excess fluid from your system. And then the last one is probiotics, which are good bacteria, right? We all have bacteria in our gut. The good bacteria helps to make vitamin B and also B12, excuse me, and it also helps to helps with your digestion. So when you take about probiotics, like in a yogurt, say for yogurt or kimchi or anything that's kind of fermented, that's going to have those good healthy bacteria that help the gut, and so it can actually help decrease gas and bloating. So those are just some ways to kind of get started. The other foods that are high in potassium and that have a diuretic effect are going to be asparagus, cucumbers, celery. So all of those just kind of try to work in there. So the other thing we can do, we talked about water. Let's talk a little bit about those other beverages, because it's other stuff. It's not just what you eat that can increase bloating too, right? It's liquid intake, your beverages. So obviously fizzy sodas, right? Because that fizz is air. That air gets in the gut, and then you'll feel bloated and poofed out. Alcoholic beverages, especially those that the bubbly, right? Champagne and things like that. Those mimosas and proseccos, and I know. But my job is to destroy joy. That's why I'm here. So
No, your job is to help us balance
exactly.
and have a healthy diet, because we could go real overboard in a week. There's gonna be some folks going ham and literally and figuratively.
Pun intended. Exactly. So right. And again, like we've said before, this is the time of year. If you only, go all out this time of year, that's fine. But we just want you to not have that feeling afterwards. So these are some of these ways will help you just prevent some of that kind of buyer's remorse, so to speak. Similarly, excess caffeine can cause bloating. It can even cause diarrhea in some people. So that's not fun. So be sure to watch your intake on those. Fiber. Let's talk about fiber, because we've talked about how fiber is very good for you for a variety of reasons. It helps with your digestion, elimination. However, if you're new to fiber, you need to respect the fiber. In other words, don't just say, okay, I'm gonna just start eating all this fiber, because it will have the opposite effect, causing bloating, constipation, abdominal pain. So low and slow is the way to go when it comes to fiber. And foods that will you want to just be careful with that, because you don't want to just all of a sudden kind of overload your system if you've not been accustomed to eating a high fiber diet. So just say that with the word of caution. Um, as you all are coming in, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure, again, we're asking, name one thing that you're thankful for this holiday season. As you come in, and let us know where you're watching us from. So far, Ellis, we've gone through a lot. What does that sound like? You said one of them kind of reminded you of your mom. Like what's kind of your favorite, or one that you think you might want to try this year?
I think this year I'm definitely going to drink more water throughout the day, and I think especially when it's the holidays, your family, you're enjoying yourself, and you might technically binge drink because you might have a glass of wine, you might have beer, then you have a mixed drink, and then you just because you're talking with your family, and and then you get done, you go get another one, and you're drinking calories and you're drinking sugar, and and it's too much. So I think I'm going to mix more water in there. I do like the idea of having a smaller plate to kind of manage some of those portion sizes. So I will definitely do that. Um, and I like the three P's. That's easy to remember: protein, potassium, and probiotics to kind of stop that bloating. And so so there's definitely quite a few things that I will take, and do some substitutions, right? So we
Exactly.
can. There's no way piece of salmon and smoke that and eat that instead of the kind of more less healthy
Yeah,
items if I'm
like
going to
like
eat protein.
and we talked about, like, dark meat is, you want to eat more. If you're going to eat the meat, eat the white meat of the turkey breast, or the turkey meat versus the dark meat. Latasha said she's thankful for her health and surviving COVID twice. Oh my goodness. Yes, 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 yes. We are so happy that you came through it on the other side twice. So yes, that is definitely reason to be thankful.
Yeah.
So the other thing, we're talking about food. Another thing that is pretty prevalent during this holiday season are these fatty foods, like cheesecakes, and all these rich desserts that are high in dairy. Um, you want to be careful with those because they can produce gas, and really fatty meals will take longer to digest. The stomach, it slows down peristalsis, which is the normal movement of the smooth muscle in the digestive tract. That slows down. So, if your stomach's not empty, guess what? You're going to feel fuller longer, and in an uncomfortable way. So the rich desserts, if you're going to sample them, really limit yourself, because you don't want to have to pay the price later. Okay. Um, and then let's talk a little bit about movement, because we always, recommend exercise daily or regularly anyway. But even after you eat, before you crash and tap out, go for a walk. If the weather is reasonable where you are, where you're going to be celebrating, take a couple of family members, right? It's a great way, not only for your health, but just mentally, to engage with family members, no phone, no screen time. That would be a good way to help things get moving, right?
Yep.
And then also, it doesn't even have to be vigorous exercise, even yoga. Some of the poses that you get into with yoga, especially like the spinal twist, can really be helpful for your belly. It
Mhm.
helps decreasing air in the belly. So, yeah, there's a lot that you can do. So we want to usher in kind of new traditions and new ways to approach the holiday, because you blink and you're gonna miss it, right? It's gonna be over in the blink of an eye. So you want to enjoy it. You don't want to be sidetracked with GI or stomach issues.
One thing we did with our greens, because years when we grew up in the South. My family is from South Carolina, so we South. Okay, okay, we're the first state to secede
Real South.
from the Union, so we South. Okay, we Southern. Um, and then one of my cousins went off pork, right? And so we changed Thanksgiving, so we started using smoked turkey to season the greens, and haven't changed, even though he's back. He stopped eating meat altogether, and so when he stopped eating meat, we would make two pots of greens. We had one with smoked turkey, and then one that was completely vegan. And we really, I think now it's about, a lot of people are just eating the vegan greens, and we figured out how to season them. And like, so those are the challenges that you can do. And if you have that extra bag, not there's an extra bag of greens, but if you take a little bit of and just try it this year, because you can't go cold turkey, right? Like that's hard. That's a challenge. But this year you say, okay, 2/3, 1/3, 2/3 with
Mhm.
your traditional
Mhm.
way, and 1/3 with another way, and then you play with that and you try it and you go, okay, I can eat this. And then over time, that can switch, right, to two
Yeah.
thirds of vegan greens and then 1/3, and then you can phase it out altogether. So give
Exactly.
yourself grace and try some things.
And you can even, I'm not above making substitutions and not telling people. Um, I have, particularly if it's something that there's not a food allergen. Now, of course, you don't want to do that if there are people who may have allergies, but like something like grains, where I'm just switching out smoked paprika for a liquid smoke for, a ham hock.
Yeah.
That's, but one other thing I wanted to mention too is avoiding excess sodium. Very key,
Ooh,
very
yeah.
crucial. And a lot of that is hard to control. If you're getting that honey baked ham or any ham, if you're, using a lot of canned goods,
Mhm.
however, packaged foods, you're going to be getting salt. And then we add on. So what does that do? The next day you may notice, oh, this ring is tight. I can't get my ring off and on. Or when you take your socks off, you've got the imprint of the elastic in your legs,
Yeah.
right? That's your body's way of telling you that you're retaining fluid. Salt attracts water. Go back to chemistry class. So water follows salt. So if you've got all this salt or excess
Mm.
sodium, you're going to draw in, the cells are going to draw in extra fluid, and that's going to show up in the tissues. So one way to prevent that, of course, is lower sodium, making what you can from scratch so that you're not having to rely on prepackaged and highly processed foods. And as far as seasoning, start to rely more on your spices, your seasonings to bring out the flavors of foods versus the salt. Regina says that she is thankful for life and learning how to manage her lupus, chronic kidney disease, and fibromyalgia. Wow. Good for you. Good for you. Those are some heavy hitters. And I'm glad that you are, excuse me, doing what you can to live your life.
Well, I hope you're seeing a great. You're part of a great pain management center, because I mean I know that fibromyalgia and lupus, that's difficult.
Mhm.
We actually going to be starting a lupus series in December. So if you want to watch that series, it's going to be a great 12-part series. It's going to go start in December and run into next year, all about lupus. So you could check that out, Regina, and then just make sure that you're adherent to whatever. And then chronic kidney disease, if you're not on dialysis, then we do a show called Kidney Talks every other Friday, and you could watch that program and really kind of learn how to manage your kidney disease. So if you have CKD and not in dialysis, even if you are in dialysis, you can watch that program. They'll give you tips, even if you're on the registry for transplant. There's wonderful wealth of information on that Kidney Talks program. So we've got two programs that can handle what you're dealing with right now with Regina, but it sounds like you're on the right track. And thank you for sharing, and thank you for doing what you need to do to manage those illnesses.
Definitely. Definitely. And then the last few minutes, I do want to just share because I know people have interest in complementary or natural ways to address symptoms or problems. So peppermint oil capsules. So
Mm.
I don't think I realized it came as a capsule. Peppermint oil capsules help with indigestion. They help with gas. Excuse me. Ginger tea. We know ginger is good for digestive stuff, so ginger tea is helpful, and dandelion root. So I guess that comes in like a powder, and you can make a tea out of it. Um, things. Something really basic. Avoid chewing gum. Chewing gum introduces air into the belly, either
Mm.
through because when you're chewing, you're just taking in air, or if it's like a sugar-free chewing gum, the sugar alcohols in the sugar substitutes can again pull in extra fluid into the intestines and give you gas, bloating, diarrhea, so forth. Um, Coconut water. Coconut water is potassium. It's high in potassium, rich in potassium, and but too much, and that can actually increase bloating and abdominal pain. So you want to be careful with that. And Epsom salt baths, and I did not know this. Epsom salt baths, which contain magnesium, which is a diuretic. It's a saline laxative. Excuse me, not a diuretic, a laxative. So, but soaking in an Epsom salt tub, a bath can help with bloating. Did not know that. So,
So your grandmother knew what she was doing.
who?
I said your grandmother knew what she was doing.
Oh, exactly. I didn't think of Epsom salt for like achy muscles and joints. I didn't know that it worked, but it's the magnesium, which is another natural remedy for belly problems too. Sucking through a straw. Yes, that was my next point I was going to make. Thank you, Harriet. Same thing with the straw. So when you drink through a straw, it can increase air into the
New
intestine.
York just came out when you said straw.
Straw. Straw, yes.
Straw.
So,
Okay, all right.
it's a straw, a straw. But yeah, and that I just want to kind of go back and reiterate something I said earlier about slowing down to eat, because that's another thing. When you're gobbling everything up, you're gulping in air. So take time not only to enjoy the food, right? People have done a lot of hard work to get that food on the table. Take time and savor it, and save yourself some grief on the back end. I was like, no, I want it.
We're trying to get to that second plate before everybody else get all the good stuff. Right? You got to get
those like, tell me. But no, but try to practice good table manners, and because what that does when you eat slowly, you actually allows your brain and your stomach to communicate. And so the stomach sends a signal like, yeah, I'm full, or I'm getting full. And the brain will say, okay, no more hunger for you. So, but you gotta give time for that communication to happen. so slow down.
Not at the hot dog eating contest where you throwing it back, but I get you. I get you.
So actually, Regina wants to know what time does the lupus series start?
Check with I'm doing it off the top of my head. I know it starts in December, so there'll be some advertising on the video Facebook page as well as on the website. But yeah, it is starting next month. The lupus series, and so we're excited about having that and partnering with the Lupus Foundation on that. So, and we're gonna have more lupus things because Black women. I want to go into the whole thing, but Black women are typically delayed, particularly in getting a lupus diagnosis, 6 years after their white counterparts. So think about that. You could be with lupus for up to 6 years without having it appropriately diagnosed, and that's because there is a bias about Black women in pain. And so they don't really register the symptoms. They send you home. They think it's stress or whatever. And so a lot of women don't come back and they just endure it. So really, that's why we're starting this series, because we really want to educate women about that so they know, armed to go and say, Doc, I think I'm having these symptoms. Can you test me for lupus? And so we're starting that conversation and being your own best health advocate. So that's part of the impetus of that.
Definitely.
And that's what we're doing here on Veganist. We're helping you become your own best health advocate because we know that your health begins with the food that you put into your body, right? That's where your health begins. So if you're putting carcinogens in, don't get upset when
cancer causing agents.
Okay, get upset when you have bad stuff, happening in your body. So I'm doing a lot of joking, I do a lot of stuff, but I'm really serious about this. Like, you have more control over your health outcomes than any doctor on this planet. And it starts with what you put in your body and what you do with your body. So if you get up and you start moving, if you drink water instead of those sugary drinks, if you eat more vegetables and less meat, you will have a healthier life than you will doing the other things.
And I just want to say too, we've said this before, but when you're passing those mashed potatoes, pass the family history. Please take this time when as your families gather together. Take this time at some point. It doesn't have to be over the dinner table, but at some point during the weekend or day or whatever time you're spending together, to get family histories so that you can give that information to your doctor, because we need that information when we're trying to figure out what's going on with you or how to prevent something for you or treat you. Knowing what people in your family tend to be affected with is Really, 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 really important. So try to get some of that information this weekend, or whatever the opportunity presents itself. But definitely encourage during this time. And we're not talking about just physical problems, but also any mental health issues that may run in the family as well. So I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. I can't wait. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm so excited. I wish you all, good health. Be sure to invest in your health one plate at a time. Eat the rainbow and
Yes.
come back and see us after the holiday. And you all, you gotta tell us when you come back. My challenge when we come back is tell us how you made a more plant-based or healthier version of a traditional family dish. I did it with my mom's cornbread. I totally veganized it. So we'd love to hear about that. If you wanted my book, Doc Fix My Plate, Doc Fix My Plate, the Physician in the Kitchen's prescriptions for your healthy meal makeover. You can get your copy at docfixmyplatebook.com. Follow me on all social media at Physician in the Kitchen. And I wish you well.
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
Happy Thanksgiving.